Welcome back, game developers. Today I'm going to show you how to create a sequence of levels. We will do this by creating a function that will be called whenever the player opens the treasure chest at the end of a level. For this tutorial, your game will need at least 2 levels, each on a separate layout. If you're new to the channel, we have been making a simple exploration game as a way to learn the basics of game design using Construct 3. If you like, you can download the project files in the description below and code along with us using the free version of Construct. Okay, here we are in the editor, and I've done a little bit of work on my game. Now I have 3 levels, and they look a little bit different from our last tutorial. Hopefully you've been working on your game and you have a couple of levels now. So all of my levels are using the same event sheet. They're all paired to the event sheet level 1. And this has all of our code for checking for health and power-ups and fire and everything we've coded so far. So really, this isn't a level 1 event sheet anymore. This is just our gameplay. So I'm going to rename my event sheet now to gameplay because that's a little bit more descriptive for what this actually is. Okay, so to link our levels together, we're going to need a global variable and a function. So let's make our global variable first. We're going to right-click in the empty space on our event sheet, and we're going to add a global variable. This will be a number variable, and we are going to call it current level. And its initial value is going to be 1, because the first level is level 1. Okay, now let's write our function. So to add a function, we're going to right-click in the empty space on our event sheet, and we are going to add a function. So let's name it go to next level. Okay, hit OK. And now we can create our function. So we want our function to check the global variable and do something depending on what it is. So let's right click our function and add a sub event. And in the sub event, we're going to check our instance variable. So to check variables, that's under system, and then compare variable. Okay, and we're going to check our current level variable, and we want to know, is it equal to 1? Okay, if it is equal to 1, what do we want to have happen? Well, we want to go to our next level, level 2. So let's add an action, system. Okay, go to layout, and then let's send the player to level 2. Okay, so we have our first sub-event of our function. We can copy this by clicking on the left-hand side, holding Control and pressing C, and then holding Control and pressing V. And I have 3 levels, so I'm going to do this one more time. And now I'm just going to come in and change my events here. So if current level is level 2, I want to send the player to level 3. And then finally, if they are on level 3, I want to send them to the win screen. So to finish our function, we need to increment our current level variable. In other words, we need to add 1 to our current level variable. So we're going to right click our function again, and this time we're going to add a blank sub event. Okay, this way it has no condition, which means it'll just trigger every time. So in our action, we are going to add on to our current level. So system, add 2, and we want to add 1 to our current level. Okay, so what's this function going to do? When this function gets called, it's going to check your current level global variable. And by default, it starts at 1. So on your first level, when this gets called, it'll send you to level 2. And then it'll skip these events and trigger this one, which will add 1 to current level. So you'll be on level 2, and your current level variable will equal 2. Then the next time this function gets called, it'll check the variable again, and this time it'll be 2. So it'll send you to level 3, and so on. So if you had more levels, you would just simply add on and change these. Okay, finally we need to call our function. And to do that, we're going to do it in our event with the chest. So when the player collides with the chest and they have the key, instead of going to the win screen, so let's delete that. So add action, functions, and then go to next level. There's the function we made. Hit next. Okay, so let's give this a try and see if it works. I'm going to go to my title screen and hit preview, and let's check it out. Okay, so let's find out if our function functions. All right, here's our chest. We can't trigger it until we have the key. Where is that key? Bum, 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 dun, 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 bum, 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 got it. All right, we're on level 2. Awesome, so it worked. All right, so our function seemed to work, but we want to test it thoroughly, make sure it's working completely. So I'm going to go to level 1, and I'm going to move my chest and my key right next to each other. I'm going to go to level 2. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move my chest and key right next to each other. And level 3, finally chest and key. All right, now I'll be able to see if this triggers correctly all the way through. So let's go ahead and hit preview and see what happens. All right, back in preview mode, and let's see if our function works correctly all the way through. All right, play there. All right, level 2, level 3. All right, congrats, you won, bud. Awesome. And it takes us back to our tile screen so we can play all over again. Look at that. All right, in today's tutorial, we connected all of our levels into a sequence so that the player can play through the game from start to finish. We coded a function to accomplish that task, and then we modified our event with the chest to call that function. Thumbs up if you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next video.